This is the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl. Good morning, evening, afternoon, and everything else, Timothy.
Hello. How are you doing today?
Glad to be alive,
Yes, I am too. Well,
especially considering that,
yes.
as I was just telling the satanic Simon Slater, there have been 213 mass shootings only so far this year in America.
Yes. And God, I know two people that died from guns in schools when I was growing up in different independent events. So yeah, it's a thing.
I mean, it's and the latest case, of course, Texas. What's sad, or of course, guns are the problem, but this kid was suffering for a long time and nobody seemed to pay
Well,
attention.
I think he also posted on social media like, I'm going to do this.
But that
I'm
was
gonna
no, that was in the immediate before thought. He had
Okay.
been bullied, he had been miserable, his
Right.
mother was a drug addict. Nobody paid attention to him. And again, another and an isolation tank that he built for himself. And then right on his 18th birthday, where did he even get the $5,000 to buy these two AR-15s? I mean, this is what no background checks. No, not in Texas.
Well, yeah, but I always say there's a bigger problem. I mean, we are constantly selling that to our own people that violence is a reasonable solution to a conflict. So it goes deeper. It's a cultural
It's
thing.
as this country was settled.
Yeah.
We know
Well, yeah.
that
Yeah.
to be true. Well, in doing my research in this great menagerie of ridiculousness that we live in, called the United States of Insanity, there are 10 things that are banned in America that aren't guns. Of course, I wish Ted Cruz was one of them, but he isn't.
You're more of
So,
an Abbott person, I know.
well, wait till I tell you who my new favorite is. Give me a minute, I'll get into
All
that.
right.
But just a second.
Should I
So,
are you gonna take this one or
I'm
yeah?
going to, and let me know if
Okay.
you've heard any of these before.
Okay.
Did you know, Timothy, that honking your horn in front of a sandwich shop is banned in Little Rock, Arkansas after 9 p.m.? It is illegal to honk your car
Well,
when
I avoid Little Arkansas as much as I can. Little
or
Rock.
any place where cold drinks are served after 9
Cold
p.m.
drinks. Why?
I have no clue. All right. Did you know Georgia, another fine state that has a
Okay.
lot of serious problems?
Yeah.
In Sandy Springs, Georgia, the law declares that, quote, any device designed or marketed as useful primarily for the stimulation of human genital organs is obscene, material, and prohibited. In 2016, we're not talking 1616, an attempt was made to appeal the ban, but to no success. In Georgia, you need a license to carry a gun, but anyone over 21 can have one in their own homes. All
Okay. All
right.
right. Yeah, yeah. A lot of these things are really consistent.
Toy guns. In
Telling
Kansas,
us.
minors are not allowed to buy toy guns. Last year, Kansas passed a bill to lower the legal age to carry a firearm from 21 to 18. No toy guns. Real guns, not a problem.
Right.
Now, if this isn't cheesy, what about Brie? In a decision that has
God.
in a decision that has big Brexit energy, the US government passed a law in 2004 stating that any cheese aged under 60 days, imported or to be sold in the US, must be made with pasteurized milk. That means many kinds of cheeses, including Brie, are banned.
That's that's not very French. So
This
we're
one, this
definitely
one
different than the
is
French.
very strange. High
Okay.
heels, how dare they? In Carmel, California, you need a permit to walk through the streets in heels over 2 inches high.
There must be a massive
Oh,
street prostitution thing going on there. It makes no sense.
Very concerned about people's safety in America. Caviar. Caviar. In 2005, the U.S. banned beluga caviar because of fears it produced in an unsustainable way. In 2005, there were
Oh,
at least
come on.
four. In 2005, there were at least four mass shootings in America. All right. Okay. No caviar, plenty of guns. Calling
That's just some import export money
Brexit
thing. It has
type thing, yeah.
nothing to do with anything.
All right, calling vegetarian substitutes meat. In several states in the US, it is illegal to label vegetarian burgers or sausages. In several states in the US, it is legal to carry a gun without a permit. and presumably you can call it a burger or
But
whatever.
then again, see, but what you're saying, basically, with all this inconsistency is really just about America deciding that money's the most important thing. So that's like the beef industries, that you can't call it a burger, and it's a gun lobbying. So this is all just about money. We decided that money is most important thing, and here we are.
Well, of course, skydiving while drunk, that needs explanation. But how about this one? Nigella Lawson, the voluptuous kitchen goddess. In 2014, Nigella Lawson was stopped from boarding a British Airways flight to the States after she confessed to taking drugs. The ban was later lifted in preparation for a show, The Taste. Give me a frickin' break. Welcome to America, assholes. Love it or don't. We're kind of stuck here for now.
Yes. Well, all right. We have limited time today, so I'm going to talk about Nancy Brophy, who's the trashy romance novelist who wrote Wrong Husband and Wrong Lover. And now Daniel Brophy, her husband, has been murdered. She wrote an article called How to Murder Your Husband. and she was saying, well, usually the spouse is the number one suspect, so you have to be really clever.
Always.
And now she's the number one suspect. And he was shot down. He taught at the Oregon Culinary Institute, and he was shot to death there. And she took the stand to defend herself, but they've been showing the jury a bunch of surveillance cameras of her car hovering around the Culinary Institute, and she says she has no recollection of being in her car in that time and place. So I think she might have a tough one ahead of her.
Amnesia.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd think after writing a couple of books, especially crime or romance, you would have done the research. You would have watched a few episodes of Forensic Files, Cold Case Files, New Detectives, etc. Come on.
So do you remember a couple episodes ago, there's this family was camping. I had it in my opening. This family was camping in one of the big kind of desert state parks in Utah, and the kid tried to dig this giant hole in the side of the dune.
Got buried himself under sand. Yeah.
So there's been basically only 20 sand suffocation deaths.
Death by sand.
Yeah. In the United States since like 85. But there's like 3 of them already this year. So one happened in Southern California, not that a month ago, but one just happened on the Jersey Shore. This family from Maine decided to go. What's this kid's name? Levi Coverly. Well, he and his sister decided they're running around the Jersey Shore beach, all excited. They're like, hey, let's dig this giant hole. And they took these Frisbees and just used them as shovels and started going nuts. Well, they dug a fucking 10-foot hole. Oh. And then they're like, hey, let's play inside this 10-foot hole. And of course, all the sand collapsed on them. And Levi was completely
buried.
So yeah, where she was up to her chest, like, help me. So they dug her out. She's got some issues, but she's gonna live. And
she probably could have collapsed a lung. I mean, sand is heavy.
Yeah. Levi's gonorrhea. He's done. He's 10 feet under, actually.
Oh wow. I didn't have a chance to. I'll investigate it further, but they claim that there might be a lost city under the Grand Canyon, 1,463 feet down. There's a cave.
Well, how do they discover this?
There's a river there. But the thing is, this article was written about 100 years ago, but people have not been able to disclaim that it doesn't exist because of the Grand Canyon is so huge.
But when was this city from? Like, how long was this city?
Possibly the Egyptians. That is a bit, more investigation needs to be done. However, a subject I am most intrigued by, this just happening. An Oklahoma state representative proposed an idea for legislation that would make vasectomies mandatory for young men in the state.
Ooh.
Oh, please, I'm gonna vote for the second time in my life. Speaking before a floor of legislators, Republican Representative Mickey Dolenz, not to be confused with the monkey or monkeypox, Mickey Dolenz said on Thursday that he is thinking about introducing the legislation next year. Quote, I would invite you to co-author a bill that I'm considering next year that would mandate that each male, when they reach puberty, get a mandatory vasectomy that's only reversible when they reach the point of financial and emotional stability. If you think that's crazy, then I think that maybe you understand how 50% of Oklahomans feel as well. Of course. Dolan's remarks were made at the Oklahoma legislative debate, HB 4327, a restrictive law that effectively bans abortion from the moment of fertilization. In other words, you know what I mean? Fertilization, it's barely alive.
How do you even know?
No.
Yeah, but Oklahoma, I mean, basically abortion's been illegal in Oklahoma for a while.
Well, they passed that bill. So, and they were expected to sign it into law, and it would be one of the strictest abortions restrictions in the country. But I do think finally, a representative after my own heart, or should I say hard-ons. I think that makes perfect sense. You can reverse a vasectomy. I like the fact that financial or emotional stability, that would take care of a lot of issues we have in this country.
Yeah, I maybe it would. I don't know.
You know me.
Snippity doo dah.
I was just gonna say, snippity doo dah, Timothy. A little snip never hurt anybody.
Well, you can talk about orgasms. You can talk about any kind of explosive shocks, whatever. Gianna Scarmuzzo.
Her name is explosive.
Yeah. Well, she was like, okay, she's just in her bedroom and looking at herself in the mirror and just kind of admiring herself. And she's like, oh, it's kind of nice. There's a nice little thunderstorm out there. This is in Pennsylvania, North Huntingdon Township outside of Pittsburgh, where you lived once.
I do love Pittsburgh.
And then all of a sudden, she's looking at herself in the mirror and she sees a flash and she feels a shock in her left pinky. And all of a sudden, this lightning bolt goes through her left foot.
Wow. Ouch.
Basically, this lightning bolt blasted a 12-foot hole through the roof. It went right into her bedroom and hit her directly. I mean, it really singled her out.
Wow. I wonder if the mirror made it even more intense.
No, it's because she was in a house which was grounded, so she didn't die, but it went through her body.
Oh, to pinky toe.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, what the hell just happened? I mean, she just remembers a flash. She wasn't knocked out. It's not like who's the guy that was struck like 8 times? It's not
very unlucky dude.
Yeah, the guy who's been struck the most. Yeah. Sullivan. He committed suicide. He had a divorce because his wife got struck too. She's like, I'm just hanging around you. I get struck. And then, of course, he was coming home from work one day after being struck many times. He's like, that cloud right there, it's following me. And he's like, it's like out of like Bugs Bunny. He's like riding his car as fast as he can to his house, running to his front door and blasted in his front yard.
Poor guy. Well, speaking about the weight of things, weight of sand, I finally investigated. Each cloud weighs about 1 million pounds. They look so fluffy and light.
What?
Well, they're full of heavy water. I don't know how they stay afloat. Further investigation needs to be done.
1 million pounds.
1 million pounds. Anyway,
what?
Speaking about someone that does not pay attention to things that are banned, but has had a vasectomy, and I'm very proud for our next guest, Jamie Stewart of Xiu Xiu. Yeah. Totally safe. To have sex with him. All comers welcome.
Oh, God.
This is the Lydia and Spin, episode number 150 with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and Jamie Stewart. This is the Lydia and Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and our special guest this thunderous day here in Brooklyn, Jamie Stewart of Xiu Xiu and many other outlandishly diverse projects. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Lydia. Nice to talk to you.
You look happy today. Is this something new, or are you just happy to talk to me?
Oh, I'm frankly just happy to talk to you.
Well, let's see how long we can keep that going for. Maybe my good cheer will spread over the entirety of your being. It was Eugene Robinson, our good friend, a friend of our podcast, and my friend of many years, that suggested we get a hold of you, which I thought was a grand idea.
Oh, yeah. Eugene is I feel funny saying the word hero about somebody that I'm pals with, but I admire him tremendously. I've learned a lot from him. His art is great. He's fun to hang out with.
I always
Totally,
like to
totally.
learn some new fighting skills from him, which he never lets
Yeah,
me practice
yeah.
on him. He never lets me practice them on him, though. So I just have to go home and shadow fight.
We were on a tour once and standing outside of a truck stop somewhere in like northern Italy. And he just kind of without any sort of warning or introduction, just very slowly and very gently put me in like a choke out headlock, but like in front of all these like 9 million-year-old sort of Italian people. He's like a tall black guy and I'm like a short, sort of spindly white guy. And they were all seem horrified. I was just sort of waiting for him to be done not murdering me. But that, it was at that moment that he demonstrated to me how to choke someone out. I mean, I didn't ask him to, but now I know how to do it.
Martial arts experts, or not even experts, even when I was a kid, there'd be someone in the schoolyard and like randomly without saying anything would like grab your arm and go like, see, all I have to do is this and then do this for a second. And and you can't move your arm for the rest of your life. I'm like, well, why are you doing this to me at all?
Well, Tim, what is my response when I meet a martial artist?
Throat punch.
I could kill you I could kill you with a throat punch. I've said this to Eugene a few times.
But did you ask him for any moves? I mean, are you curious? You just kind of let him be his expert in the corner, and you just kind of
me or Jamie or both.
Or Jamie, well, both. I know you asked for moves, Lydia.
I mean, we had been talking. I mean, it wasn't out of nowhere. I mean, and I was until I was probably like 20, like throughout my childhood, was really interested in martial arts. But this was 20 years after I was a kid. So.
Right.
But we haven't talked about it. I think it was just the same kind of thing. Like, it's just like in his blood. And he was just like, oh, here's someone I can just sort of talk to about. We've been in the car for like 10 fucking hours. So
that's the thing on the road. On the road, you take away, part of his therapy, at least what I could gather, is his weekly classes and stuff like that. So if you're on the road, it's sort of like going on the road with someone in AA who doesn't have a meeting.
Two things about on the road. Twice in one day, maybe in Italy. I was touring with Big Sexy Noise and we ran into Eugene's fan who was also touring twice in one day at truck stops, but also him choking you out in front of other people. I reminded, perhaps on the same tour with Big Sexy Noise, we had found this squeaky pig at a truck stop that
I know exactly what Italian truck stop squeaky pig you're talking about.
Okay, well, Jamie, I wish we would have talked about this sooner, because I would put it under my dress between my legs and I'd wait for like some schmo to come out and like wah, terrify them.
That's actually, it's funny that you reveal this, Lydia, because Jamie, I work with one of Lydia's bands, and toys found on the road and kind of planting them in suitcases. I mean, that's a theme. He does that. It's like, so if you ever on the road with her, watch out. Might be some toys popping up here.
There was a pacifier prick that went from bag to bag to bag under mysterious circumstances. It happens.
Right.
It's pretty decent.
So, Jamie, have you been on the road recently? I mean, since the pandemic, things have been weird. Have you done little trips?
I mean, not totally. I did like a little solo tour a few months ago, and then
where'd you go?
Just like Western U.S. states. It was okay. It was less fucked up than I thought that it would be. And then the band that I play in just played our first full band show in 3 years on Saturday.
Let me hold you up for a minute. What were your solo shows consisting of? Like, were you doing it with canned music, some instruments? What were those like?
Like folky, whiny.
Folky, white boy, whiny on a guitar.
Oh yeah.
I'm
guitar.
so glad I didn't see that.
Kind of you're troubadour going from town to town. And
yeah, exactly.
Is that more when you're doing that solo acoustic stuff? I mean, your lyrics
It's not acoustic. At least there's that. It's not acoustic.
Okay, but what is the instruments? That was my question.
Oh no, I mean electric guitar. It's not as depressing as acoustic guitar.
With your electric guitar and your troubadouring, because your lyrics are very revealing. So is that a chance to get the poetry and the trauma out more directly when you're just doing that solo?
Oh, I don't really think about it in those terms. I mean, it's to that aspects of it. It doesn't seem, at least personally, it doesn't seem super removed from doing like a full-on rocking out band show. I think it's just an opportunity to play in a different way, or I like doing arrangements, so it's an opportunity to come up with different arrangements. A lot of the full band songs are a little, I mean, don't sound all that complicated, but there's a lot of like weird little shifting parts and weird harmonies. So it's just a sort of creative exercise as much as anything.
Hey, I like all kinds of different methods in which to perform. I think it's mandatory. I mean, you come from your own school of production and musicality where you're always using different instruments, you're inventing different sounds from gamelan to noise and everything in between. So it makes sense that you got to break it up sometimes.
Do you focus on diction in general, or do you like to obscure the way you pronounce words just to make it sound cooler sometimes, like a lot of vocalists do?
Oh, I don't know that I'm like a controlled enough vocalist to really be able to think about it.
Okay, all right.
If I can get it sort of like remotely close to being in pitch, that's my goal.
Something I never worry about that myself, but
yeah.
I watched one of your, I think it's a recent video, Rumpus Room, because I had read that it's like kind of like your most cheery. What I found really interesting about it is, especially the dancing, is the words are still really heavy, and the video is heavy.
I think it was just like somebody being lazy, but I mean, because it has a groove, so I think anybody assumes if you can dance to it. But no, I mean, it's essentially to me, it's essentially about sort of having a chaotic internal life and turning to insane behavior and overeating unhealthy snacks to deal with it.
Yes, I think you quote Flaming Cheetos in that one.
Oh yeah. There's 4 specific snacks in it. My bandmate,
the original Bugles you quote.
Yeah.
Trust me, I
did some snack research. Thanks.
I not only do I look up the lyrics, but in Retrovirus we did have quite a snack attacker, but he's since cut that behavior out.
So if you're saying a chaotic internal war or life, eventually, artists, particularly performing artists, you either create your persona and then you maybe morph into that yourself, or this might be an exaggerated version of what you are in everyday life. What would you say? How did you view yourself before you became the performer that you are today, and then what you are today? And how do you view that in terms of how those things interface, and where do you feel like you are in everyday life? If you know what I'm saying.
Jesus Christ, that's complicated.
Yeah. No, but that's a thing.
That's a good question.
This is going to make me sound like kind of like a self-aggrandizing prick, but
I love that. Please self-aggrandize, be prickish.
I try really hard to like have there be as little sort of distinction as possible. I mean, I don't think this makes music inherently valuable, but this is the self-aggrandizing prick part. One of the things that we're trying to do as a band is just be as much ourselves as possible. And that's obviously not always, it's not remotely possible to squish your entire being into, a 3-minute song or whatever, but
that's why you do multiple albums in multiple styles with multiple people, because we're fucking multiples.
But I try not to have it be that different. I mean, the point of this band, as I said, is for the songs to be about
Xiu Xiu that you're speaking about, the reincarnation.
Yeah.
So what is that exist of now? So what is the full band? How many people does that involve?
It's myself
and the instrumentation, please.
Live, mostly I play guitar and sing and do some sort of electronic bullshit. And then my bandmate Angela Seo, she's been in the band the longest, and I think if we've had a lot of people come and go, but if she left, then that would be it. I mean, I've been able to replace other people, but she's irreplaceable. Live, she plays synth and percussion. And David Kendrick is the drummer. Lydia, you might know him. He was in Sparks and Devo, and I don't know.
Going back to my teenage years, I did love the early Sparks.
But he plays drums and percussion. So it's the live version is those are the main 3 people.
Economical 3-piece, which I like 3 pieces.
Yeah, 3 pieces is good.
I like 2 pieces, and I really love 1 piece. That would be me, myself, and I, which is never just one thing anyway. So what happened immediately before the pandemic, and how did you deal with the pandemic? Now,
so right before, I'm like pretty wound up and anxious and depressed person. I've dealt with a bunch of yucky stuff in my life, and I had in a really short period of time, I had several people that I was friends with and had worked with as musical colleagues, and totally unrelated, just coincidentally, all really fucked me over one right after the other. And just the last couple of people that did it, it was kind of the last straw, and I essentially had a nervous breakdown. And then a couple months after that, the pandemic happened, which actually, in some ways, I mean, obviously, I mean, in some ways, it was almost okay for me because as everything shut down, and I really needed a chance to just stare at the wall and get my shit together. You know, there wasn't a whole lot else to do other than stare at the wall and get your shit together.
Did you start feeling like there was a conspiracy against you? I mean, as somebody that might have anxiety or depression, or was it just like, you know, dominoes? Asshole after asshole comes in.
It was more like asshole after asshole. I mean, I did the usual thing of like, you know, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why does this keep happening? And luckily, my bandmate Angela, she and I, in addition to being colleagues, she's my best friend too. So she was just like, you know, it's not, you know,
it's not you. It's not always you.
Totally individual things. I mean, you know, you're not unrelated to what the problems are, but I mean, this happened because of this happened because of this happened because of this. And, you know, asshole after asshole, and assholes for different reasons, and your interactions.
Financial, career, what kind of assholes are we dealing with? They're just someone making your day-to-day life just
mega
miserable?
Assholes.
Oh, like it was mostly, it was all kind of different reasons. It was all other musicians that I worked with. And, you know, I mean, as you well know, musicians are usually pretty sucky.
Well,
I'm gonna differ in the sense that I've been extremely freaking lucky with the musicians that I've worked with, but I just really have. And other than maybe at the most 2 people out of 43 years, I'd say I've been pretty lucky.
That's a good ratio. Good for you,
trust me, it's unbelievable.
I know. We don't have to mention names, but I've worked with, I think, a bunch of musicians you've worked with. So
actually, I think we're like 0.00001 degree separated.
Exactly. I mean, one of my good friends says musicians, they'll spend the night at your house, you'll feed them, and then they want you to thank them.
Yeah.
Not the way I roll, but you know what I usually say about musicians, because usually musicians and friends, I try to only deal with geniuses, is they may cause you pain. The pain will go away, and hopefully the genius will go away, but actually the genius will remain by what they've made.
That's a good way to think about it.
But also there comes a time when there's like this domino effect. It's kind of a cleaning out anyway. So maybe it was best it happened in the long run.
It did open a lot of doors, and it made me, you know, I did blah blah blah, went to therapy, and I'm in, you know, a better place now, and it led me to work with other people I wouldn't have otherwise, and work things in a different way. So I mean, it sucked at the time, but I'm in an infinitely better place than I was then, and would have been otherwise at all this stuff.
Yeah, resistance can be painful. Resistance can be painful when things are just a bunch of shit falls in your lap, and you try to resist it rather than like, well, let it just fall to the floor, and I'm going to get up and move on.
Yeah.
And being someone who I've read, although it seems we met once, did we meet through Ron Athey once? Oh, what a bitch I can be.
Now it's very, it was a little, do you want me to tell a little story?
I want you to tell it, because I don't remember it all. I'm sorry, but go ahead. What a bitch.
Ron Athey and
what year, Jamie, do you remember?
This was right before the pandemic, days before they closed the town. It was at Akbar. You were DJing at Akbar in LA with Ron.
Oh, so I was in town then too, but I didn't go to that. I went out somewhere else that night. But interesting. Okay.
So I went into, you know, Ron was DJing, and you know, I'm a big fan of his and a friend, and I'm a fan of yours. And I go in, and you were just playing like this fucking shearing white noise, just like everything was cut off below like 5K, and everything was just like cranked. Like it was. Oh boy. It was.
You sure that wasn't Ron? That was me? Okay. I thought I would be playing some soul classics, but go ahead.
Maybe it was Ron. So Ron,
I almost said I was playing rape music, but I meant rap music. Okay. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jamie. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Man, it was a good joke. So Ron asked me if I want to meet you, and you look at me for 1 second, and then look at Ron and say, "Why do I need to talk to this guy?" Ron kind of looks at me and shrugs it for 1 second. I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And then I thought, "Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, why does she need to talk to me?"
Well, usually, as Tim will attest, I'm pretty congenial to most people. But
I mean,
somebody,
also, like, being at shows is a drag. You know,
no,
I mean, it can
trust
bring
me,
out the
I
hardest
have
part of people.
merchandise table is the hugging booth. But that night there was some gal really pestering me. So maybe she'd already crawled up my ass and I wanted to kill her.
Okay. All
And
right.
therefore, I'm sorry for the antagonism. But here we are now,
It
smiling
was
and laughing.
yeah, within 20 seconds, I thought it was funny. But yes, and I told Eugene, which he then told you, and now here we are.
Because I'm like, God damn, I thought that was maybe years ago when I was a real raging bitch.
So you live in Los Angeles now, not
Yeah,
at
yeah.
South.
I was born here and I grew up here, and then I moved to some other places, and I moved back about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Are you guys in New York?
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
In the motherfucking house. Yes.
That's why it's dark. We have these dark thunder clouds. They're kind of nice actually today. I'm kind of into them.
I love it. It's kind of New Orleans type weather. So
That's
you said
awesome.
you've moved to other places, but you're back in LA. LA, I mean, I lived there twice. It's very weird. And if you don't live there,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't understand it. And even if you live there, you might not fucking understand it because there's no real center. You'll have really good friends for a while, and then you might not see them for 6 years. It's, scenes splinter, come and go. What was your favorite period of living in LA if you've lived there most of your life?
Oh, probably like, I mean, it sucked. It was a shitty time in LA when I was growing up. Just kind of like the height of, I mean, I lived in whatever white suburbs, but I mean, it was, kind of the height of pollution and height of gang violence. So just and like the, Rodney King uprising, and I mean, it was a very tense
Drive-bys, yes.
I had when
yeah.
when I first lived there in the 80s, I had a migraine every day too from the pollution.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I
Is
mean,
that
I
how
still
bad it
had
was?
asthma from it. I mean, the air is much better now than, but I breathed that shit for 20 years.
But you still get certain days still. You wake up and like,
It
holy
still gets
shit.
bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as
Right.
it was when I was
Right.
growing up. But actually, the nicest time was probably like right before the pandemic. It seemed like just right, like right when I moved back here, it seemed to be kind of going through a bit of a renaissance. And when I moved back in 2012, so those like 7 years was pretty great. The art scene seemed like it was going somewhere. The food was great. People just seem to sort of be generally a little nicer. Now it's fucked. I
mean, where isn't it? But dumb question. Favorite type of food, Jamie? Favorite type of food?
Me? Yeah. Oh, I'm an insane glutton. I love to eat.
You're a food.
I mean, I'm real picky about food. But yeah,
well, I wrote a cookbook, so.
Did you really?
I'm going to send it to you, PDF. Oh yeah, it's very sexy.
Oh, I would love that. Well, I didn't know you were into food.
Honey, I have a lot of talents I'd rather not discuss right now. But what kind of food? Because LA does have, LA has an incredible amount of cheap and good food.
Any legit food from another part of the world that's in a strip mall that's not fancy, but that looks like someone who lives in the back. That's someplace.
Do you want to taste my tagine sometime?
Oh, I have these in my kitchen. Yeah, I do.
Ask Tim about that. He puts it in his mouth. He almost faints.
Do you cook? Do you cook a lot?
I don't cook. My bandmate cooks, and we share a house. We both, if there's a restaurant we want to go to and we find out it's a 70-minute drive, neither of us would hesitate to go to it.
Amazing.
I love Thai, Indonesian, really spicy food, Indian food when it's really good. I mean, I love that LA has the little pockets of different ethnicities.
Yeah, that's like when you said it's a confusing place to live. I mean, that's kind of the thing that is appealing to me is that, as I said, I grew up here and I, lived here most of my life, but you always find new stuff about it. I mean, there's a little suburb in the south called Artesia that there's like 10 blocks of Indian restaurants. And I lived here my whole life. I didn't find out about that until like 6 months ago. It's,
one of my favorite places in Los Angeles, which I still think is one of the most terrifying and haunted places. Well, Santa Monica Boulevard, absolutely haunted. But I love Pico Boulevard from Venice to Englewood. I love Pico Boulevard and how it hasn't changed. The old Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Oh yeah. What's one of your favorite parts of LA? Or is it in the exploring? Because it's so freaking vast.
I used to live in Harvard Heights, which is just west of the area you're talking about. I lived there for a long time. Pico Boulevard is wonderful. All the different Santeria places are really
so ungentrified. Shoe shine shops that haven't been open for 30 years.
There was a jukebox repair place on my block.
Oh, funny. And jukeboxes, you know, people have the idea like, let's have one in my house. Things are fucking heavy as shit. It's like it's like a piano or something. Hey, what are your top? Just name top 3 or top 5 food cities in America. You're like, if you go to you're on tour, cities. If you're hitting a city on tour, and you're like, I want to hit some food.
But by the way, Jamie, Tim is really good at finding the best place to eat, and he's like a Google food master. He really is.
Besides the point, but
there's a. I lived in Seattle for a little bit. There's a Thai restaurant there called Thai Tom's. It's just like a short row. I mean, every time I'm in Seattle, I've never not gone there.
Okay.
I live in LA, but even if I didn't live here, there's a place in it's south of South LA. It's one of those weird suburbs.
Well, of which there are many.
Is it in Orange County?
It's a Japanese place called Otofuko. I really love that place.
Oh, okay.
And then in Atlanta, there's a soul food place called Eats. Did you guys ever go there? So probably, if off the top of my head, those would be 3 that on tour I will never miss.
I remember one of the strangest food experiences I've ever had in LA, and I think I was with a member of the Plugs. Remember the Mexican punk band? I think it was maybe the guy that became Tito and Tarantula. I'm not sure, but they picked me up and we're going to go eat at which there are amazing taco trucks there. And it was a goat brain taco. Needless to say, never went out for another meal with them again. I'm like, hold the goat brain. Hold the goat curry. Yes, goat brains. Not too into it.
So getting back to the music, I mean, no, because I mean, even if it's just a trio, you guys, I've seen your live show before, and there's often just a lot of stuff on stage, or at least it seemed like there was. I don't know. It seemed like
for different lineups sometimes. Yeah, I mean, timbre is as big a part of composition as anything.
I agree.
So. One of Tim's favorite words in music.
A lot of people miss that.
It. Come on.
A lot of people miss that, but you know, that's a classic one. It's like, does it sound good? I mean, just that insane. I mean, Miles Davis, the end of his career, it's like, like basically just like this boy going through puberty, harmon mute, and he'll play one note or something, and it's really just.
Are you talking about me? He sounds like I sing one note for infinitum.
But I'm digressing. So as we're all kind of sort of coming back out of this pandemic thing, and bigger production tours, whether it's duration or just the whole thing, that's still not really up to speed. But do you have one of those kind of in the horizon when you're just like full on long ones? Sort of.
Like the timing was a little funny. We don't have a new record out till.
But you had a record that came out not that long ago, though.
Well, we had one in the beginning of 2021, so it's been more than a year.
Was that Oh No? Was that Oh No?
Oh No, yeah. So
Which, by the way, no is one of my favorite words.
It solves a lot of problems.
The problem in Poland, in Polish, if you say no, it means yes. Literally, like to say yes and you say no.
In Japan, they have no word for no. Was Oh No that the album of as I like to call them duets? Duets.
They were duets, yeah.
Obviously, some by remote, which I find a fantastic way to collaborate as well, and some live. You had Alice Bagg. You had who else was on that record? And that's only a year ago, so it's not that old.
Haley Four from Circuit de Yeah, Alice Bagg, Shan Van Etten.
And was that recorded during the beginning of the pandemic? Was that?
We did a couple at the little home studio, and then the pandemic happened. So then it was remote. But I think the remote thing for this, I think actually ended up being helpful because, you're in a room, somebody, they give you some lyrics and a guide vocal, and I say, be yourself, do whatever, how you want to do it. But if you're like 5 feet away from the person who did it, you're probably feeling a little more conservative. But
actually, Jamie, I have to stop you right there. If I'm 5 feet away from somebody, I'm feeling extremely unconservative.
Okay.
If it's the right person, except now we have monkeypox. and that is transmitted by skin contact. Warning, monkeypox, the next plague.
I mean, monkeypox just sound more ominous than chickenpox. Why would they? But yeah.
Anyway,
because fucking monkeypox have thumbs and chickens don't have thumbs. That's
well, yeah. Well, raccoon pox. That sounds really. Yeah, they have thumbs.
Any pox that can open a trash can. That's the problem.
Well, I think a pox on most of the world is the human pox. What can I say? The plague is never going to end.
Human pox, undoubtedly, it's the worst.
Hey, viruses are more intelligent than its host carrier. That's why we have not been able to eliminate stupidity, contagion, or war.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, we are busily eliminating ourselves. So soon enough.
Not fast enough. By the way, and Tim knows this because I always propose I will gladly endorse anybody that wants a vasectomy. I just found out today.
You got one.
Yeah.
There is actually a mobile vasectomy clinic started by a Sundance filmmaker. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I'm gonna volunteer.
Is it like a converted? Is it a converted food truck?
Well, a little snap. Never hurt anybody.
What about
just like an old Hyundai or something like that?
Oh God!
I can see a silver bullet with a silver utensil. That's my. Oh, come on! Don't be so squeamish, Jamie. I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to keep that one in the vault. It's too obscene for even you.
I mean, it's just intuitively. I always think of mobile units. Just I always think of the hygiene. It's probably incorrect, but it just feels like the hygiene's just not the same.
Hey, you eat at taco trucks, motherfucker. Come on, I wash
know.
Their hands.
Well, I hope they do.
Well, I doubt that they do. Back
universally
to the music, I guess.
Oh, we can keep talking about this. I could talk about vasectomies all day. There's no reason.
I bet you. I really got to hold my tongue on this one because I was going to ask you what's the largest thing you have ever had in your penis, but then you might ask me what's the largest thing I've ever had in mine, which would be that.
I can tell you. I mean, it's in my bedroom on a bookshelf.
Is it a sound? Is it a sound device?
Yeah.
Oh, I love you, my friend. You're so cute. Trust me. I open up a sound device and the men evacuate, literally both in their pants and then out the front door. And
some do.
I guess not you. Well, new interest is formed every day.
A vasectomy is not via the penis, though. They kind of go in exactly.
No. Like they it's like they put a little. At least in my case, they put like one of those surgical things over your nuts, and then there's like a 1 centimeter square that is even exposed, and then they, dig out your
laparoscopic, or is it they do like a. Well, I don't know.
Well, they have no snip vasectomies. I'm not very happy about that because I think,
no snip. How does that work?
I don't know. I'll tell you about it later.
Is it like
I just found out about this today. Trust me, it'll be in the next intro.
No snip. Okay. All right.
What fun is that? All right. Well, as Kafka once said, there is hope, but not for us. I mean, that's and see, exactly. You get it. Let's talk about writing for a minute, Jamie. What writers inspired you? And did I snoop somewhere that you were thinking of writing a memoir?
Oh, I got it. It comes out in April next year.
Fantastic. What's it called?
Anything That Moves. It's not like totally a memoir. It's like a sex memoir.
Well, excuse me. I heard that you recently read Paradoxia. What the hell is
that? I did.
It
was really great.
Well, thank you. That's a sex memoir.
Yeah, indeed it is.
We have something to rub up against then. What are some of the writers that influenced you, just over the span of your life?
Oh, I mean, only because we just mentioned that book. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm more just like a chatty kind of writer. I wouldn't say that I'm like a great writer, but
April next year will tell, won't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Like Elfriede Jelinek, Kenzaburo Owe, Ingeborg Bachmann. There's a bunch of noir writers I like.
Mm-hmm. Iceberg Slim. Just thought
I mean, we have a song that I stole a line from
Me
directly.
too. All right. We're going to send that song to each other. All right.
Okay.
We got the Iceberg Slim connection. I knew there was something I liked about you besides just liking you. So, all right, we got the Iceberg Slim connection. Trick baby.
I mean, so I mean, I kind of tend to lean on stuff that's tried and true as opposed to stuff that's came out in the last month or something.
Forget
anybody
it.
whose books are still, anybody whose books have been around for 30 years and people are still reading, I'll probably give it the time to.
Usually longer than that in my case, because modern
longer,
anything is a bit difficult. What about music? I mean, so your first musical escapades were with your dad?
Oh, I mean, the first band that I ever sang in, my dad played in. He was both him and my uncle were in pretty successful like 60s folk rock bands, and my dad was a very successful record producer and played session guitar, and then later went off to got into making gear and worked at early days of Pro Tools and stuff. He's a talented guy.
Early Pro Tools. So he was
kind of cool, pretty cool then, I guess.
He worked at Digidesign,
Digidesign, But weren't they doing like software for like Akai or different stuff before they went into the computer thing?
I think he started working there after that, but
okay.
I'm not 100% sure. But actually, the first Pro Tool setup I had was just shit that he stole from work for me. So it was all like prototypes, and it was all kind of taped together. And then when it eventually, as that stuff does, it fell apart, and I took it to a place to get repaired. The guys were just laughing their asses off. They're like, "How did you get this? They made 2 of this fucking thing. Like, why do you have this, kid?" And then
how old were you? How old were you when that stuff started?
I was I had a regular cassette 4-track as like an early teenager, and then I got that stuff when I was like 18 or something.
Shortly after, probably. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like amazing. Like right off the bat. So I knew how to press play and record from the 4-track, and then.
So you bypassed ADATs altogether. You didn't have to deal with that nightmare.
They were around, but I never had one. Did you have one of those?
Those were just bad experiences. But I was also just kind of new to the recording experience in general. I mean, I had a cassette 4-track, and then the ADATs were they sounded worse to me than the fucking cassette 4-track. I was like, what is this? It was
4 more tracks, but they never had a very good reputation.
What music was influencing you? I mean, so your dad has produced these records.
Who do you produce? He said pretty successful. Come on.
I get like his biggest thing. He did a Billy Joel record, and then he worked with Ahmad Jamal, who was Coltrane's piano player, and then
Long Island. He lives there now. He lives there now. But anyway.
Does he? Okay.
Or he's dead now, I think. Right?
He died like living in Long Island, you might feel like
no. Yeah. But those were probably like the 2 most successful things that he did.
So was he exposing you to? I mean, besides whatever the music was when you were a teenager, which we'll get into, he was exposing you to different kinds of music, right?
He was. It was funny. Like he was. I mean, not to go on about it, but he had a lot of mental problems and a lot of drug problems, and he tried to be a good dad, but he was like dealing with all his own stuff. So I didn't really see him all that much. I mean, he and my parents stayed together, and we lived in the same house, but I didn't see him all that much as a kid. So it was when I got old and we played together, he was going through a period of having his shit together, and he was thinking, okay, now I want to try and spend some time with my kid. So that was how.
I mean, who knows how to be a freaking dad or a mom? I mean, especially when the trauma is, transgenerational, passed on from the cave down.
Yeah, he went through it, but he was real particular about the records that he would allow in the house, which sometimes I found annoying. But now as an adult, when my friends were listening to like Rat, he was giving me like Otis Redding records and stuff like that. So it certainly served me well. He gave me Stop Making Sense by Talking Heads and Purple Rain and stuff like that to listen to as a kid. So he set my standards pretty high when I was
What were some of the first concerts you saw? You're living in LA as
I remember my mom took me to see David Bowie. That was pretty good.
What period?
That was my first concert. It was for
Modern Love.
I was already over him by that point.
Glass Spider, the one after Modern Love.
Oh, with Blue Jean on it or something like that.
Blue Jean is on that, and there was a good the band was good. Carlos Alomar, Peter Frampton played guitar. Or Carlos Alomar and Peter Frampton, and somebody else really famous and cool played bass.
Omar Hakim on drums.
I can't remember, but that would have made sense.
Yeah. So your first concert was actually a huge affair. I mean, it was a big.
Yeah. Oh, Susie and the Banshees opened. Yeah, it was pretty good. I was real little, but it was. I mean, I still remember it super well.
You newbie, you youngster. You were and you were wearing shorts and flip flops at the age of 6, watching Susie and the Banshees. I love it.
I was 8. I think. Yeah, I'm sure I had shorts on.
I could see it now.
So, I mean,
love it.
Did it leave a positive impression on you, or you're just kind of like,
oh yeah, I was. I mean, I had always. I mean, I had always. I mean, even when I was little, I mean, I didn't really get into playing much until I was an early teenager, but I would, like lip sync along to records and play air guitar, like until basically I played. Like I always,
yeah.
Oh, I mean, even as a little kid, I always really loved listening.
I mean, for me, we're probably around the same age. I mean, the early rock concerts I would go to, I mean, I guess it was the spectacle, the excitement would be like going to the carnival, all the lights and stuff. But if I was really honest upon reflection, it probably sounded like shit. I mean, you're in the same room as this kind of cultural icon or something. And then, but it, I don't know.
Okay, Tim, my favorite part was the spectacle of the after party at around 13 or 14. I'm just saying. Oh, some spectacles.
You've lived a very special life, though.
Well, thank you very much. I'm quite enjoying it still, so I think I'll continue. I was lucky. I'm very happy about the age I am and what I got to see within that period, especially musically, especially coming up through glam as a young teenager, which really solved a lot of problems as far as the weirder you were, the better you felt. So hello and fuck you. So that was, although I, looked unbelievably goth at 13 before it was invented during the period of glam, but I was very lucky to see all the music that I saw and then do what I did at the age that I did, I have to say. And it ain't stopping.
Speaking of which, I'm in the middle of reading that new-ish suicide biography, and there's some very cute pictures of you in there. the Dream Baby Dream book.
Oh, the Chris Needs books. The Chris Needs, the one that I wrote a slight intro for. Is that the one? Because there's a few.
Perhaps that one. Perhaps.
Well, I've been doing my suicide tribute in Europe with Mark Hurtado, and we'll be doing more in November. So
we're just with Marty in Rev in Denton. That was.
Oh no shit!
He kind of cleared the room. I like his clearing the room set, but not everyone does. I like it.
I have to say, Alan Vega, who just seen that as one of my first concerts in New York, it was so amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, doing suicide songs, I never lose my voice doing that shit. I can howl all night long. Now, if I gotta sing, kitty litter voice sometimes might sneak in.
What do you think of Bruce Springsteen's cover of Dream Baby Dream?
I think it's cool. I mean, Bruce Springsteen is a mixed and complicated, weird character, but it's a fucking bitchin' song. It's
you know what? When
he did seem like he was sincere about it.
In my suicide tribute, we will do like 1 minute of Dream Baby Dream. I'll go cut that shit off next song. That's just me. I want to get to the Frankie Teardrops, the Harlem, the Ghost Rider, and some of the Ellen Vega solo stuff.
We did Frankie Teardrop live for a little while. That's a fantastic song.
Did it for a long time.
Oh God.
Oh my God! It's so
do you have the Z Records Christmas album?
I don't know what that is.
There's a
Christmas album.
It might be the best one. I mean, Suicide's got a track on that, and then I think Alan Vega solo does, but also
would have known better than to
Christina. It's mostly famous for
sucking.
No. Was it the waitress? The waitress's Merry Christmas. That's on there. That's the big.
Yeah. Okay. Edit that part out. Nobody cares.
Well,
so you have a new album coming out soon, did you say there, Mr. Jamie Stewart, Mr. Xiu Xiu? I just got to say that again, Mr. Jamie Stewart, Mr. Xiu Xiu. Say it. You have a new album coming out soonish?
I wish it was soon. It's not out till spring of next year.
So what's
we
the
just finished it, but it's not out till next.
And what's the progression from the duets to this? What's the direction you're going in this time?
Well, I mean, not through any conscious decision, but it's the most far out, I think, unembracing record we've ever done. There's no songs on it really. I mean, we've always have like some experimental pieces, but we've never done a record that's all experimental.
Who's putting it out?
Our usual regular label, Polyvinyl. I don't know why we're on. I mean, I don't know why they like us. I mean, all their bands are very like kind of garage pop bands.
What's the label?
Like very like song. Pardon?
What's the label?
Oh, Polyvinyl. They were like an emo label in the 90s, and now they do like garage music, and then they have us on there for some reason. But they're incredibly supportive and really nice. They're super organized, super honest. I couldn't say enough.
Well, if you're selling records, there's no problem for them.
Well, maybe
it's not that easy to move units these days. So, are you doing? Are some shows coming up? So you said you came off some solo shows recently. So, are there live shows? Do you like touring?
I like playing, but the days of me liking touring are long gone. I mean, I tour in order to have the opportunity to play, but it's the usual thing. If you're not paying me to play, you're paying me for the other 23 hours of the day, that kind of situation.
Hey, exactly. As one of the Rolling Stones said, 25 years of waiting, 5 years of playing.
Right. That sounds about right.
That's about it.
I mean, are you liking it in the first 5 to 6 shows, and then after
wait, hang on. Let's talk about how long are any tours anyway at this point. I mean, that is also
historically
thing. Like I mean, we won't tour again until this next record. I mean, we have some one-offs and stuff like that coming up, but like legit one-offs. Tours won't be until.
One-offs are
I don't know. I like touring because I feel like we need like 7 or 8 shows to really get all the to get really glued together.
What's the longest? What's the longest tour you've ever been on, and where?
Fuck, we did one. It wasn't one tour, but it was all back to backs. I think it was 100 days with no days off or something. It was pretty. I mean, it was like
no days
the
off.
Melvins.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was like England and then the US and then Europe and then a couple shows in Asia. But like it was, the days off were just travel days. It was.
I hope you banked on that.
We did all right, but it was.
What year was
more
that?
than I ever want to do again.
What year was
2010.
Wow. I mean,
it was a lot.
But I mean, touring has changed a lot.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine that would. I mean, I would never do it again, but I don't know if anyone could.
How does your voice hold up if you're doing 100 in a row?
It was funny. Like the beginning was good, the middle was bad, and then by the end, it was just like beef jerky. So like invincible.
The chords were rough. I mean, when do you ever get a cold on the road? I mean, that's harder than blowing out your voice. I think if you have like a full on head cold, and
it's happened once in a while. But I mean, now I'm really boring on tour. Like I just sleep. I don't drink. I don't do any drugs on tour. I do a shitload of vocal exercises. I mean, just for that reason, like I want to be able to do it as well as I can. But
I don't know why I suddenly wanted to ask you something I asked Stu Spasm of the Art Gray Noise, to which the answer was obviously very predictable. I went up to Stu at a subject and I said, Stu, have you ever shat yourself on stage? I'm only saying that because I've had only 2 episodes, and both of them with retrovirus, where because I never get sick at all, but I got so sick with pain, I literally thought I was going to puke on Tim's head. But I don't really want to ask you that.
I have never shit in my pants on stage, thankfully.
Off stage?
But I did have a bandmate who had to leave the stage to go take a shit because she ate an entire bag of sulfate-infused freeze-dried mangoes. And she almost shit in her pants, but did not. She did have the wherewithal to at least leave the stage.
This is why it's tricky to wear fishnets on stage. You really don't want to have a checkered disaster.
No help at all.
Well, the word is Ozzy Osbourne. So one of his classic things since the 90s, he's getting the crowd all going, and he dumps a bucket of water over his head, and that's to hide the fact that he can't hold his bladder. Because he's wetting himself, and that's
really practical.
Yeah, I think
flushes it away, and you maintain your dignity.
Yes,
seems
yes.
that's a good move.
No,
Well, I've been
I have
known to
inside
have
information on
experience.
that.
Yeah.
I've been known to occasionally moisten the stage, but that's a rare occasion. But I don't, I usually
but if
just
you're wearing,
ask for a tissue.
if you're wearing a skirt
And
and,
it's
you're
not
dripping, it's different than
piss.
wearing pants and you're pissing. It just has a different effect.
Exactly. And one of the reasons I don't wear pants or underpants.
One of the reasons. Oh my God. So, all right. Well, you're
take a deep
Whoa.
breath, kids.
So what are you going to do until this record is released?
We just started writing the next one, and then we have this we started a music subscription thing during the pandemic, but people seem to dig it, so still doing that. We're working on a Bauhaus covers record, and I do some like production and stuff like that, and I teach a couple of classes on experimental music, so those always take a million years to organize. So there's plenty to do, and then I think like I had to start editing this book we talked about. So there's some stuff on the.
Who are some of your favorite?
No, wait, excuse me, Tim. Why don't you sneak me a little chapter of that book? I can't wait.
I'll ask them. I'll have them send it to you.
Sneak me a little chapter.
Who are some of your favorite experimental musician composers from the first half of the 20th century?
Oh, like pre 1950?
Well, I'll give you this: up until 55, because there actually is a lot of stuff that happens between 50 and 55.
Yeah. I mean, I like all the really classic cats.
The masters.
Yeah, like Cal and Crum and Martin Feldman, especially. I guess his stuff is more 60s and 70s.
So you're a George Crumb fan? Okay, interesting.
Oh yeah. Black. I guess he's later though. When was he? Oh, I guess he's more 70s.
A little. Yeah, he's a little later. He was teaching at UPenn before he died. I was.
Black Angels is a really big important song for us. Like when we first started, that was super influential. Okay. I think mostly the stuff that was super meaningful for me is post 1955 through like the mid 70s, like like the all the gay dudes and all the Jewish dudes,
Okay.
That's rather a vague blanket statement.
All the gay dudes, Charles Warren, like really cold serialists.
Are you going to cover all the young dudes, but all the gay dudes? You're covering Bauhaus. I mean,
all the gay dudes. That's a pretty broad subject. I say
not all the gay dudes, but
carry
there would be no surprises on my list. Everybody that you would expect.
Okay. All right.
I lean on, as I said with writing, I lean on the classics a lot.
Yeah, Vangelis just died.
Is my number one fave. What's that?
Vangelis just died.
Today?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
What do you think of Robert Ashley and Alvin Lucier and Gordon Muma and that whole world?
Or all that stuff I really love. Alvin Lucier I totally love. And I guess far away from those people, but from the 70s, Eliane Radique is really super important for me.
Okay. All right.
And what's interesting is knowing the references of all that, which is part of what also influenced your music to be continually diverse from itself, even, which I respect completely. I mean, it goes now. The next thing is a completely experimental record. You do songs, you do kind of spoken word songs, you do duets. That's what I find very interesting. And having the knowledge of what has come before educates what can come next.
I mean, as two musicians yourself, I mean, the nicest part about music is there's so much of it, and you can never know everything about it. There's
if all music
new to find out.
Yeah, if all music stopped today, we would never be able to never. It's kind of interesting what I'm starting to realize with the material you're making. People complain about the record industry and just the lack of funds of today, but at the same time, if you were 20 years older, if you somehow got funding from a bigger label, you probably wouldn't be allowed to do all the experimentation that you're doing. So, I mean, they would be like saying no if they gave you a $200,000 cash advance. I mean, at least I would assume.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I don't know. I mean, there's two things about it. I mean, sometimes, you think about records that people had, not all records, but a lot of records that people had $500,000 to make are some of the best records of all time, and people will listen to those records forever. And a lot of records that people made with no boundaries in their bedrooms, no one will ever listen to. So, I mean, I don't know if necessarily I mean, no money or a lot of money, I don't think has anything to do with it. I mean, I think it's if somebody has a good idea.
Well, and look, I don't know how much it costs, but Raw Power and the first Three Stooges records, maybe one or two. And I like that you said that Nico Desert Shore was one of your favorite records and something I saw.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love Nico. So there are also some records that had almost zero budget that are indelible in one
Oh
side.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But that's not exactly where I was going at.
Suicide Records, they had no fucking money to make those,
and you know, and so was this coming album? We're all holding our breath. Was that all done in house?
Yeah, I think just because my dad stole Pro Tools for me as a kid, I just got used to having a home studio, so I've always had one.
I think it's great.
I mean, I'll send it to someone who has their shit together to mix it, but I like the recording part of it. Do you guys record at home, or you go into studios, or
I've done a lot of albums remotely with various projects. I mean, but when for instance, the last time we went into the studio, that would be Retrovirus, we recorded a whole album in one day.
Oh wow!
You know what you're doing. You fucking record.
Well, it also depends. Like if I'm doing an improv with free jazz improvisers, I kind of have to go into the studio. I can't do that remotely.
Yeah, exactly.
I could. It'd be something really different and weird. So it really depends on the project. But obviously, recording from home, particularly during the pandemic, has become a lot more frequent.
I love it, and I don't find there's any difference as long as the end result is mixed or mastered to your liking. I mean,
what about live percussion though and live drums? I mean, don't you? I don't know what your setup is like. I mean, do you do a lot of that from the house?
No, I mean, I live in a house now, so I can just do the drums at home. But that's I mean, I've just lived in the house for the last maybe 4 years. I mean, in the past we've gone to a studio to do drums, but now I can just do it at home.
Awesome. You know, Lydia, earlier when you were saying the first Three Stooges albums, it threw me off because I wasn't hearing it as the first three Stooges albums. So you're saying, I thought you're saying the first Three Stooges albums. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Amazing, undiscovered classic.
Recording onto a wire recorder.
Hey, I had the Mo Howard haircut. All right, let's just settle that immediately. Back of New York, I had the Mo Howard. And let's face it, I'm occasionally like the Three Stooges. Have a good slap a few people in the fucking face occasionally.
Oh my God.
Just saying.
Do you
slapped a lot of people.
Do you like physical comedy, Jamie?
Like
just people getting just hurt.
Jim Carrey?
That's one form. I guess Three Stooges is another form. There's just the body is used as a prop, and there's usually accidents and tragedy involved.
There's not so much of that. Well, there's Jackass now, but
Jackass. Yeah.
I think Jackass is funny as fuck.
It can be.
I wouldn't mind testing Johnny Knoxville's pain threshold because I know it's pretty amazing. Johnny Knoxville. I just suddenly got caught up in a fantasy and lost my train of thought. I'm just like,
take your time.
The things I could do to you, Johnny. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Oh shit.
Mamma mia.
I think John Waters kind of had a little crush on Johnny Knoxville. He was referencing him quite a quite.
I think I heard him mention that in an interview. Yeah.
Yeah, he was constantly.
Hey, I would gladly fight John Waters for a crack at Johnny Knoxville.
Wow.
or for Johnny Knoxville's crack.
No, hey, that we'd have to fight it out over his crack. I want to see how much that boy can take.
It seems like he would be open to this arrangement.
He would have to open wide for Chunky, honey. There would be no choice in that matter.
All right. Yes. All right.
God damn it.
Okay, all right.
I need a cigar after that one. Christ.
All right. Well, again, digressing. So you have a book coming out. You have a record coming out.
You're just doing what you always do.
Chugging along, I mean, as both of you, when you're done, on to the next one.
So what's a good day if you're fighting your own demons in your own head, and that's a thing that happens and resurfaces sometimes. So what's a good day for you, and what's a general bad day for you? When
the last 2 years, it's been up and down, and I had some other weird shit happen, but I learned a lot, so I'm feeling
you're on the upswing.
A little more. I'm feeling like I can hang with a little more fervently. I have some more. This is such a terrible word to use, but I have some more tools to deal with Cuckoo Town. But thank you for saying that.
I can help you with that.
Thanks.
Because it's really all about perspective when shit comes down. It really is. It's about where you going to go with, I don't have much of a problem with assholism because I usually just allow it to burn itself out. I just let it go. And it's not going to affect me because, well, if you want to go asshole to asshole, I'll fucking top you, goddammit. And I don't have to do that. I'm paid to be an asshole. I don't do it in my free time, or so I like to think. Tim's question was very good, though. What's the ideal day?
I mean, part of dealing with the aforementioned Cuckoo Town is having a schedule. So I literally write it down. I got a set of colored pencils. From here I'm doing this, here I'm doing that, then I'm doing that. And it's all, I'm just, working on like 10 projects at a time. That makes it productive. So my Monday through Saturday is pretty scheduled, but I also think it's productive. So
you take days off. You'll take a day off.
I take Sundays off. Yeah.
Okay.
Like Larry Hagman. I hope it's a day of silence. I tell people I tell people who want to write a book or want to write something, especially something longer than lyrics, that you have to just set a time frame. And if you write one sentence or 100 pages, you got to say, I'm going to do that from 9 till noon, or I'm going to do it from whatever. I love the fact that Harry Crews used to wake up at 3 a.m. and write. But whatever time period you pick, you've got to do nothing but that if you want to accomplish getting a book done. I mean, I wrote Paradoxia in 3 months. I wrote at any of the books I put together, cookbook, anthologies. I give myself a 3-month time period, but I have the discipline of that time block. The same way if you were going to, I mean, I don't consider it a job, but it's what I have to do. And I think having that discipline, that's how we get shit done.
And also, I mean, it also helps with the
mania.
It certainly helps with the mania, but I mean, just from a totally practical perspective, when you add that much time to your project each day, there's that much of it. I mean, it will eventually get done because you're adding something to it every single day. So, I mean, it's just a practical way to erase procrastinating.
Absolutely. Do you ever binge on anything? Do you ever binge on music, books, TV on your one day off?
Oh, on the one day off, I will.
A halo just formed behind your head when you said that. You were looking upward like a saint. On my one day off.
On my one day off. When I choose not to be a slave to music. I don't know. I mean, I'll just do whatever my little hobbies. I'll probably get high and eat a bunch of ice cream and then go to the beach.
Okay, what flavor? What flavor?
I mean, as are you, I'm kind of a snob about food, so I don't really care what flavor as long as it's not garbage ice cream.
Oh, really? There's not a flavor that you're like, ugh.
I mean, I wouldn't eat like blue cheese and pear ice cream or something like that.
Well, I guess you could find something like that in some place.
I'm going to tell you a perverse combination that somebody brought to me one time, and I'm like, this doesn't sound good, but it tasted amazing. Vanilla ice cream, a bit of olive oil and black pepper. I'm like, what are you talking about?
That might be above my pay grade, but it was good.
It's kind of amazing.
Oh, interesting.
I wouldn't. I don't need it again. I'm not an ice cream. I like.
What are these flavors?
I got a sweet tooth. That's
You do.
Well, the chapter in my cookbook is called Sweet Freak. You're gonna get that in a PDF as soon as we're off.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, you're gonna be in the kitchen in your kitten heels.
Do you drink alcohol at all anymore? Yeah, I know you say you don't do it on the road.
When I don't have shows coming up. I mean, unfortunately, totally love to drink, but it really kind of eviscerates my feeble golden throat. So
you're not drinking the right things.
Not
drinking the right thing. Yeah, I haven't tried one of my hot toddies.
What's in your hot toddies?
Special brew, honey.
Special brew of herbs and spices. And
it's
I'm gonna look into this.
Fresh ginger, cinnamon, cloves, lemon, blood orange.
That sounds delightful.
And of course,
bourbon or whiskey. Good for the throat.
What you're gonna say? What you have?
How nice my throat
you
is.
like to drink?
Oh yeah. I mean, we had like our first show last weekend, so I didn't drink at all for a couple months. But after the show got fucking obliterated for the
On
first
what?
time, mezcal.
Ooh, that will
If
take
you're
you there.
gonna go big.
That will take you there.
But
And that's an accelerant.
I kind of afterwards I was just like, fuck, maybe I don't love this as much as I did anymore, and that's probably not a terrible thing.
You mean the next day?
Yeah,
next
but
2
it wasn't
days?
like, I mean, a lot of times I feel bad the next day, but it was like, even while it was happening, I was just like, this is fun, but it's not.
Well, but you got to know what.
I don't know. It wasn't as exciting. You always found it very kind of energizing and exciting and interesting, but it was just, I could just tell the next day it wasn't going to have been worth it.
Well,
but I'll have a little bit here and there, but
that's why I used to like cognac, because for some reason you can't really OD on cognac.
yeah,
Like after two drinks,
you can't like drink like 10 cognacs.
No, it kind of, after 2 drinks, it kind of tells you, all right, that's enough.
Yeah, but mezcal, it keeps, they want you to keep on drinking. I think it's the accelerant angle, and it can get psychedelic. Actually,
there's that too. Like, I really enjoy psychedelics, and as far as boozes go, like that's when the edges get a little.
I don't have to ask you if you'll eat the worm.
Oh, I definitely would eat the worm. Yeah.
They call it spirits for a reason. I mean, you can bring out the spirits, that's for sure.
All those old Bugs Bunny cartoons, when they would open up the booze and little ghosts would come out of the bottle.
I forgot about that.
Do you guys drink still?
Yes. Yes,
I'll take the 5th, and I mean the bottle.
The fifth of vodka. Okay.
Roar.
Actually, Cuddle One cucumber mint vodka is delicious, but I don't. I can't say I'm not moderate in anything, but I don't get drunk.
Yeah.
Tim saw me drunk once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
3 times. Tim, he can handle everything. We're experts. I never have a hangover, though. Have you ever seen me have a hangover, Tim?
No, you never told me. You just seemed like Lydia lunch,
Unfortunately, there's only one of us out here, because otherwise, oh my word. Let's just say there was a reason I had to get rid of my twin in the womb. This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and our special guest, Jamie Stewart of Xiu Xiu. Thank you, Jamie.
It was a delight to talk to both of you. Thank you very much.
It's great.